The vastness of space stretched endlessly, dark and silent. Humanity's outer colonies drifted quietly among the stars, isolated and peaceful. The colonies were scattered, connected only by fragile trade lanes, and for years life had been calm. Most humans had begun to think that nothing could threaten them in this distant corner of the galaxy. But peace as always was fragile. On the outermost colony of Epsilon 9, the horizon of space was clear. Automated sensors swept the void, humming quietly as they scanned for any signs of movement. The colony was small but well prepared, with shields and turrets ready to respond to any threat. Its people lived simple lives, tending to farms under massive biodomes and maintaining the station's technology with care. Suddenly the sensors flickered. A warning light blinked red. Something was approaching. At first it seemed like a routine cargo ship. But then the shapes appeared. Dark, angular, moving faster than anything humanity had built. The human operators stared at the monitors in disbelief. These were not human ships. They were too perfect, too strange, and too silent. The alarm sounded across the colony. A deep, urgent tone that echoed in every chamber. People froze in the corridors. Workers abandoned their stations and families huddled together. The colony's automated defenses tried to respond, but the alien ships moved too fast. Energy barriers flickered and faltered. Turrets aimed, but the invaders were already shifting positions, slipping past them with ease. On the bridge of the colony's command center, Commander Rena Halvorsen watched the monitors, her hands gripping the edge of the console. Her eyes widened as she observed the alien ships. Their hulls were unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Sleek, black, and almost alive, with lights that pulsed and shimmered in patterns that seemed to communicate with one another. It was as if the ships themselves were thinking, moving with a precision no human mind could match. "They're scanning us," Rena said softly, almost to herself. "They want to know everything about this colony, and us." The bridge crew murmured in fear. Panic was spreading, but Rena held her voice steady. "Everyone stay calm. Do not respond. Observe. Report everything." Outside, the alien scanning beams swept over the colony. The light was cold and blue, piercing through buildings, domes, and corridors. Machines shivered under the scan, alarms beeped, and the very air seemed to vibrate with invisible energy. Civilians screamed as they watched their homes being scrutinized by these strange invaders. Some ran to shelters, others froze in terror, unable to comprehend what they were seeing. Meanwhile, in humanity's distant central command, alerts from Epsilon 9 were reaching the war room. Officers stared at the data, struggling to understand the images streaming in. The aliens were unlike any previously recorded threat. They were fast, intelligent, and completely silent. No communications, no warnings, just observation. The fear was palpable even over the vast distances of space. On Epsilon 9 the tension was unbearable. Every passing second seemed longer than the last. Then the monitors flickered with something new, a single signal, faint but clear. It was a transmission, not in any language humans recognized. The words were simple, chilling, and terrifying in their meaning. "We are coming for all of you." The bridge went silent. Rena's stomach turned. She knew immediately that this was not just a scouting mission. These aliens were planning something far more dangerous than anyone could imagine. The colony's population felt it too. Fear rippled through the streets, through the corridors, into the deepest corners of the biodomes. The idea that they were completely unprepared for this threat sank into every mind. Children clutched their parents' hands. Workers abandoned their posts. Even the automated systems seemed to hesitate under the pressure of the unknown. Rena took a deep breath and forced herself to speak. "This is not the end. We are human. We survive. We fight. But we have to stay smart. Follow protocols. Protect the people. That is our priority." Her words were meant to calm the crew, but inside she felt the weight of the message. Humanity had never faced an enemy like this. An enemy who watched silently, who moved with unmatched precision, who struck fear before even attacking. As the alien ships hovered above the colony, the light from their scanners casting eerie shadows across the terrain, Rena knew something fundamental had changed. This was no ordinary encounter. Humanity's outer colonies, once safe and distant, were now the first targets of an unknown and terrifying force. The transmission repeated once more, faint but unmistakable. "We are coming for all of you." Somewhere in the stars beyond, more alien ships might already be on the move. And humanity, unprepared and unaware of the full scale of the threat, was about to enter a conflict that would test every limit of its courage, its technology, and its unity. For now all anyone could do was watch, wait, and hope. But deep down, Every person on Epsilon 9 knew, the nightmare had only just begun. The transmission from the alien ships haunted every corner of human space. "We are coming for all of you." The words repeated in the minds of humanity's leaders, engineers and civilians alike. Epsilon 9 was in chaos, but the ripples of fear had reached Central Command light years away. Admiral Kellen Voss sat in the war room, staring at the holographic display of the outer colonies. Red markers blinked where alien scouts had been detected. His jaw was tight. The room was full of officers, all equally tense. "They're faster than anything we've seen," a young officer said, pointing at the projection. "We sent reconnaissance drones, they were gone in seconds. No shots fired. No communication." Kellen nodded. "And now they know we're here. We underestimated them." His voice was calm but heavy with urgency. "We can't afford to panic. We have to respond carefully. Activate Protocol Sentinel. Send a fleet to intercept, but do not engage recklessly." Meanwhile, on Epsilon 9, Commander Rena Halvorsen coordinated the colony's defenses. Engineers worked frantically to strengthen shields, redirect energy to critical systems, and prepare evacuation plans. Civilians were moved to shelters and automated drones patrolled the outer perimeter. Despite all the preparations, a gnawing sense of helplessness lingered. No human ship had yet faced these alien scouts. Their movements were calculated, precise, and almost invisible to detection systems. Even the fastest human vessels would struggle to keep up. At Central Command, the first human fleet, a squadron of light frigates and corvettes, was launched toward Epsilon 9. The ships were fast, agile, and armed with pulse cannons and defensive shields, but against the aliens' unknown technology, no one could predict the outcome. On board the flagship HMS Resolute, Captain Joran Price reviewed the mission with his officers. "Remember," he said firmly, "we are humanity's first line of defense. We are fast, we are clever, and we are united. That's how we survive." But even as Price spoke, the alien scouts appeared on the fleet's sensors, approaching silently. No weapons fire, no energy spikes, just movement, impossible to track precisely. The human fleet moved cautiously. Pilots strained to monitor every blip on the radar. And then, without warning, the aliens executed a maneuver that no human had predicted. They split into multiple small squadrons surrounding the fleet from all angles. Communications were jammed for moments and the tension was palpable. "Stay calm. Keep formation," Captain Price ordered. Pulse cannons were powered up, shields strengthened, but the alien ships seemed to anticipate every move. It was as if they could read human tactics before they happened. Back on Epsilon 9, civilians watched the night sky. Shadows of alien ships moved across the horizon. Some prayed. Some screamed. Some silently accepted the fear that had taken hold of their hearts. And yet, amidst the terror, human engineers and volunteers refused to give in. They repaired broken systems, reinforced energy shields, and prepared emergency protocols, proving that even in despair, humans could rise to the challenge. At Central Command, Admiral Voss reviewed live data feeds. Alien movements were too advanced for standard engagement protocols. He knew the small fleet sent to intercept could not defeat these invaders alone. "We need to understand them before committing the full fleet," he muttered. "But every second counts. They are scanning, learning, and waiting." As night fell on Epsilon 9, a new transmission flickered through the colony's communications network. Unlike the first, this one was fragmented, almost like a warning, or a taunt. Broken words, mechanical tones, and alien sounds filled the channel. Humans could not decipher the meaning. But one thing was clear: the aliens were observing, testing, and preparing for something bigger. Commander Rena gritted her teeth. "We have to assume the worst. Prepare every ship, every drone, every energy shield. Nothing is too small to protect." In the void of space, the first human fleet engaged in cautious maneuvers. Scans were conducted, patterns observed, weaknesses looked for. Every human pilot knew the risks. Every captain understood that failure meant annihilation. But humanity did what it always did in the face of impossible odds. They adapted. Dr. Elena Marsh, a scientist aboard HMS Resolute, analyzed alien energy signatures. "Their technology is unlike anything we've studied. Their shields regenerate faster than ours. Their engines are silent, almost invisible to our sensors. But," she added, a glint of determination in her eyes, "we are learning. Every move they make teaches us something. And humanity always finds a way." Hours passed. Small skirmishes erupted. Human ships attempted daring maneuvers, striking and retreating. Alien scouts tested, circled, and vanished before full engagement could occur. Casualties were light, but the tension weighed heavily on all humans involved. And then, as the first human fleet regrouped to report back, the aliens vanished. Just like that, they were gone from Epsilon 9's orbit, leaving the colony shaken but intact. But there was no relief. The cryptic transmission echoed in every mind. "We are coming for all of you." Admiral Voss knew that humanity had survived the first test, but the war had only begun. And for the first time, humans across colonies understood the truth. The galaxy was no longer theirs to explore freely. Somewhere beyond the stars, an unknown enemy was learning, adapting, and preparing to strike again. Yet even in fear, one thought remained in every human heart: humanity would not surrender. Humans might be small, isolated, and untested in the galaxy, but they were clever, brave, and relentless. And when the true battle came, they would be ready. After the alien scouts vanished from Epsilon 9, humanity had time to breathe, but not for long. Central Command's war room was alive with tension. Red alerts still blinked across the holographic displays, signaling the outer colony's vulnerability. Humanity had survived the first contact, but they had learned something critical. These aliens were not reckless. They were calculating, intelligent, and patient. Admiral Kellen Voss paced the floor, rubbing his temples. "The scouts were just the beginning," he said, voice low but firm. "They are testing us, mapping our defenses, understanding how we think. We cannot face them with light fleets alone." A young officer at the console spoke up. "Sir, we've reviewed old files. There's something hidden. Something not on current records. Classified decades ago, Project Aegis. It's a fleet that has never been deployed. Fully armed and hidden in deep space." Voss froze. "The ultimate fleet?" he whispered. No one outside a handful of top commanders knew of its existence. It was humanity's secret weapon, built during the Cold Expansion. A fleet of massive warships, advanced cruisers, stealth frigates, and automated drones, designed to defend humanity in the worst-case scenario. Its location had been a closely guarded secret, and its capabilities were unmatched by any contemporary fleet. "Bring me the full reports," Voss ordered. "We may have no choice but to awaken the ultimate fleet." Meanwhile, on Epsilon 9, Commander Rena Halvorsen tried to maintain order. Civilians were fearful but resilient. Engineers and volunteers worked around the clock to repair damaged systems and prepare for further attacks. Every scan, every patrol, every shield adjustment was a reminder: humanity had been tested, and they had survived, but only barely. Back at Central Command, scientists and engineers worked frantically. The ultimate fleet had been hidden in remote star systems, cloaked behind massive asteroid fields, protected by layers of stealth technology. Activating it required more than just a command. It needed precise coordination, energy synchronization, and decades of knowledge that only a few living humans possessed. As preparations continued, Admiral Voss addressed his staff. "This fleet is our last and greatest hope. The aliens will return, stronger and larger. We will not hide anymore. Humanity must show them what we are capable of." The fleet's awakening was a spectacle in itself. One by one, massive ships emerged from the shadows of distant asteroids. Light glinted off armored hulls, and the hum of powerful engines filled the silence of deep space. For the first time in decades, humans could see the scale of Project Aegis. Cruisers bristled with weaponry, stealth frigates flickered in and out of visibility, and drone swarms hovered in formation, ready for deployment. Captain Joran Price, now assigned to one of the fleet's lead cruisers, stared at the emerging armada. This is more than we ever imagined," he whispered. The crew around him nodded, their fear mixed with awe. The ultimate fleet was not just a weapon, it was a symbol. Humanity, even when cornered, could rise above the impossible. Even as the fleet assembled, analysts were busy tracking alien movements. Reports indicated that the invaders had detected unusual activity near Epsilon 9. Their curiosity, or perhaps suspicion, would bring them back soon. Time was short. "Status report?" Captain Price asked. "All ships operational," replied his tactical officer. "Shields at maximum, weapon systems online. Fleet cohesion at 98%. Ready for engagement orders." "Good," Price said. "We wait, observe, and strike when the moment is right. Humanity survives through strategy, not just strength." Deep in space, alien scouts began to return, moving faster, more coordinated. They were testing again, probing humanity's defenses, likely unaware that they were being watched by a fleet far more powerful than anything they had encountered so far. Every movement, every pattern was logged and analyzed by humans. Every lesson learned could be used in the coming battle. Commander Rena, aboard Epsilon 9, monitored distant fleet signals. They're learning from the scouts, she noted. But so are we. And humanity is nothing if not persistent. Admiral Voss gave the final orders. Deploy drones to outer colonies. Keep civilians safe. Position the ultimate fleet near the outer rim. When the aliens return, they will find a force they cannot underestimate. The fleet moved into position silently, cloaked and ready. The vast ships, gleaming under the faint light of distant stars, cast long shadows in space, invisible to the aliens until the perfect moment. It was humanity's turn to observe, to plan, and to strike back with intelligence, courage, and determination. And yet, even as the ultimate fleet prepared for battle, everyone understood one unspoken truth. The aliens had not revealed their full strength. What they had seen so far was only a fraction of their power. Humanity could hope, could prepare, could fight, but survival would demand more than strategy. It would demand ingenuity, bravery, and the unity of every human soul willing to defend their home. As night fell on the outer colonies, the shadow of the ultimate fleet stretched across distant space. It was a silent promise. Humanity would not surrender, and when the enemy returned, they would face a force unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The ultimate fleet had taken its position at the edge of human-controlled space. Massive warships hovered in formation, cloaked in stealth, their engines humming silently. Commanders and crews aboard each ship knew that the aliens were out there, watching, waiting. Every sensor scan was a reminder. The first real test was about to begin. Admiral Kellen Voss paced the bridge of the HMS Vanguard, the flagship of the fleet. He stared at the holographic display showing Epsilon 9 and the surrounding sectors. Red blips indicated small alien scout movements near human colonies. The invaders were probing humanity's defenses, looking for weaknesses. "Captain Price," Voss said, his voice firm, "we strike when we know they're vulnerable. No rash moves. Every ship in this fleet is humanity's lifeline. Protected at all costs." Captain Joran Price nodded, watching his crew prepare. Tactical officers ran simulations on alien movement patterns. Scientists analyzed data from prior encounters, searching for the smallest advantage. Humans were outmatched in raw speed and technology, but they had one thing the aliens had not: adaptability. Hours passed in tense silence. Then, from deep space, the alien scouts appeared. This time they moved in larger numbers, faster and more coordinated than ever. The fleet sensors flared red, tracking dozens of small black ships approaching from multiple directions. "Shields up. All weapon systems ready," Price barked. Crew members moved quickly, checking systems and firing sequences. The tension in the command center was electric. The first clash was sudden. Alien ships darted around the edges of the human formation, firing energy pulses that barely missed the human ships. The pulses were fast and erratic, designed more to confuse than to destroy. Human ships responded with defensive maneuvers, twisting and turning to avoid damage. It was clear that the aliens were testing human tactics. They didn't attack with full force, but their precision was unnerving. Every human pilot felt it. The enemy was thinking ahead, predicting movements, and adapting to human strategies in real time. "Focus on coordination," Price said. "We can't outgun them, but we can outsmart them. Watch their patterns. Exploit every weakness." The first small victories came unexpectedly. A squad of human frigates, using clever flanking maneuvers, cornered two alien scouts and disabled them with pulse cannons. The ships exploded silently in the darkness of space, leaving their hulls drifting among the stars. Cheers erupted briefly, but Price held up a hand. "Stay focused. This is just a test. They will learn." Meanwhile, in the outer colonies, Commander Rena Halvorsen coordinated civilian defenses. Automated drones patrolled streets, shields were reinforced, and evacuation plans were executed with precision. Civilians helped wherever they could, moving supplies and repairing broken systems. Even in fear, humans acted with courage and purpose. As the skirmish continued, the aliens tried to adapt. Their small ships began coordinating attacks, splitting the fleet's attention and targeting weak points in the human formation. Human pilots had to think quickly, reacting to threats that seemed unpredictable. "Evasive maneuvers Delta 7. Price ordered. "Target the lead scouts, push them back." The humans struck hard and fast. Using clever coordination, they destroyed another alien squadron. But the cost was visible. One frigate lost contact, another ship damaged. The losses were reminders that even a small victory came at a price. Amid the chaos, scientists aboard the fleet made a crucial discovery. The alien ships emitted a faint energy signature that flickered in a predictable pattern, small, almost imperceptible. Using this, human pilots could anticipate their movements for brief windows of opportunity. It was not much, but it was enough to turn the tide in skirmishes. Admiral Voss watched from the flagship, noting every detail. "They are clever," he admitted to his staff. "But so are we. Humanity has faced impossible odds before. We will adapt, we will endure, and we will fight back." After hours of maneuvering and minor battles, the alien scouts finally withdrew. They retreated into deep space, leaving the human fleet intact but wary. Human crews breathed a collective sigh of relief, knowing they had survived the first direct engagement, but also aware that the real fight had not yet begun. On Epsilon 9, the civilians looked up at the stars, seeing faint glimmers of retreating alien ships. Some cheered quietly, some prayed, and some simply stared, understanding that this encounter was only the beginning. Humanity had survived, but the shadow of the enemy still loomed large. Captain Price turned to his officers. "We've proven something today. They may be stronger, faster, smarter, but we are not helpless. Every time they test us, we learn. Every loss teaches us something new. Humanity does not break. We endure. We fight." Admiral Voss knew the truth. The aliens would return, larger and more aggressive. But humanity had discovered its first advantage: ingenuity, adaptability, determination. And in that, humans had found a weapon as powerful as any technology: the spirit to survive against impossible odds. The first skirmish was over. But in the quiet of space, the war was only beginning. And as the ultimate fleet regrouped and repaired, every human soul involved understood the same truth. They had survived the test, but the true battle for their galaxy was still ahead. The first skirmishes had ended, but the threat had not vanished. Alien scouts had retreated, disappearing into deep space, but humanity knew better than to celebrate. Across the outer colonies, the fear of another attack lingered like a cold shadow. The invaders had tested human defenses, and now they would return stronger. At Central Command, Admiral Kellen Voss stood before a holographic map of the galaxy. Red blips marked alien activity, small but strategic movements probing human systems. "They are learning from every encounter," he said, voice low but steady. "We cannot fight defensively forever. Humanity must strike back." Captain Joran Price, aboard the HMS Resolute, studied his tactical officer's reports. "We need to hit them where they're weakest," he said. "Not with brute force, but with intelligence, speed, and coordination. That's how humans win." Human scientists had spent days analyzing the energy signatures of the alien ships. Every small skirmish had taught them something: how the aliens moved, how their shields worked, and how their attacks were timed. From this, the fleet devised a plan, not to meet the enemy head-on, but to cut off their supply lines, strike isolated units, and force the aliens to fight on human terms. On the bridge of the HMS Vanguard, Admiral Voss addressed the assembled fleet. "Today we show them that humanity does not hide. We strike smart. We strike together. We take the fight to them, not wait for them to destroy us." The fleet split into coordinated groups, each moving silently through deep space. Stealth frigates slipped past known alien patrols, carrying drones to sabotage supply depots on the outskirts of enemy territory. Cruiser squadrons prepared ambushes along travel routes, while corvettes monitored for unexpected threats. Every move was calculated. Every ship had a purpose. Meanwhile, at Epsilon 9, Commander Rena Halvorsen worked tirelessly to protect the colony and maintain communication lines with the fleet. Civilians assisted wherever they could, maintaining sensor networks, preparing drones, and ensuring that essential systems remained operational. Humanity's strength lay not just in its ships, but in its people. Hours passed in tense silence until the first encounter. Human frigates, hidden in the shadows of asteroid fields, ambushed a small alien convoy. The humans struck quickly, firing precision pulses that disabled engines and disrupted shields. Alien ships responded, but the humans had anticipated every move. Using rapid maneuvers and coordinated attacks, the convoy was destroyed before reinforcements could arrive. "This is it," Captain Price said, watching the battle unfold on the main screen. "We're showing them that we adapt faster than they can predict. Humanity fights smarter than anyone expects." Elsewhere, stealth drones infiltrated alien supply hubs. They disabled energy relays, sabotaged shield generators, and created chaos within the alien ranks. Explosions erupted silently across distant outposts, marking humanity's first true offensive. But the aliens were quick to respond. Scout ships regrouped, their numbers increasing. They tried to flank human cruisers, using unpredictable patterns and energy pulses designed to confuse sensors. Human crews reacted, employing evasive tactics learned from prior skirmishes. Pulse cannons fired in perfect synchrony, shielding each other's flanks, while drone swarms targeted enemy engines and communication arrays. Despite the victories, the cost was high. Several human ships sustained damage, and one corvette was lost entirely. Crews mourned their fallen comrades, but the resolve of humanity never wavered. Every setback taught them something new, every sacrifice fueled their determination. Admiral Voss observed from the flagship. They expected us to be weak. They expected fear. But they underestimated something they cannot measure: human ingenuity, courage, and unity. That is what makes us dangerous. The tide of battle slowly shifted. Alien movements became more cautious, their attacks less coordinated. Humanity's plan was working. By disrupting supply lines, striking isolated units, and demonstrating unpredictability, humans forced the enemy to fight on unfamiliar terrain, on human terms. At Epsilon 9, civilians watched the stars, noting faint flashes from distant battles. Some cheered quietly, some prayed, and all understood the significance of humanity's first real victory. Humans were no longer just reacting, they were taking control. As the sun set on the outer colonies, the fleet regrouped. Ships were repaired, drones recalibrated, and crews rested briefly, but the sense of purpose was stronger than ever. Humanity had struck back. The aliens had been tested, their strength measured, and their arrogance challenged. Captain Price turned to his officers. "We've done something important today. They now know humans are not easy prey. We've shown them that we fight with intelligence, courage, and unity. The real battle is coming, but now we are ready." Admiral Voss nodded. "This is only the beginning. Humanity's first strike proves one thing: we adapt, we endure, and we never surrender. The galaxy will know that humans are not to be underestimated." For the first time since the alien arrival, hope spread through human ranks. But it was tempered by caution. The enemy was still out there, stronger than any human fleet had faced, and the coming battles would be harder, fiercer, and more dangerous. Yet humanity had discovered its greatest weapon: not advanced alien technology, not sheer firepower, but the unbreakable spirit that had carried it through centuries of adversity. The stars were quiet for now, but in the darkness of space, a storm was gathering. And humanity, for the first time, was ready to meet it head-on. The calm before the storm was a lie. Humanity's fleets had been preparing, analyzing, and learning from each encounter with the aliens, but nothing could fully prepare them for what was coming. Sensors picked up a massive energy signature emerging from deep space. A coordinated alien armada, far larger and more advanced than anything humanity had seen. Admiral Kellen Voss stood on the bridge of the HMS Vanguard, staring at the projections of the incoming fleet. Red blips filled the display, each representing ships of unknown power and scale. He took a deep breath, his jaw tight. "This is it," he said. "The aliens are here. All fleets report status. Shields full, weapons ready. Humanity will not bow. We will survive and we will fight." Captain Joran Price, aboard HMS Resolute, felt the weight of history pressing down. The bridge was tense. Pilots, engineers, and tactical officers moved with precision, performing the final pre-battle checks. Every eye was fixed on the sensors, every hand ready for action. Humanity's ultimate fleet was about to face its greatest test. The alien armada emerged from hyperspace in a coordinated wave. Thousands of ships, black and sleek, spread across the horizon like a living shadow. Their movements were precise, almost mechanical, but there was no hesitation in their advance. Humanity's fleets held formation, their massive ships bristling with pulse cannons, energy shields, and drone squadrons. The first shots rang out like thunder in the void. Alien energy pulses tore through empty space, striking at human shields. Explosions rippled across the fleet, throwing small shuttles and corvettes off course. The humans responded instantly, firing back with precision strikes. Pulse cannons targeted weak points in the alien hulls. Drone swarms attacked engines and weapon systems. Every move was calculated, every attack synchronized. Human ingenuity and adaptability became their greatest weapon. Ships performed maneuvers the aliens did not anticipate. Pilots executed daring flanks and unpredictable movements, turning what seemed like a hopeless fight into a series of calculated victories. Even small corvettes, usually considered expendable, made decisive strikes, exploiting gaps in the alien formation. On the flagship HMS Vanguard, Admiral Voss coordinated the fleet's strategy. Keep pressure on their front lines. Cut off reinforcements. Protect the flanks at all costs. Humanity survives by unity and courage. As the battle raged, the aliens revealed more of their power. Massive capital ships unleashed devastating energy waves, targeting human cruisers. Shields flickered and groaned under the assault. Explosions rocked the fleet as smaller ships were destroyed in seconds. Humanity suffered heavy losses, and yet the spirit of survival burned stronger than ever. Captain Price barked orders. Divert power to shields. Launch drone swarms. Target the lead ships. Push them back. Human pilots adapted on the fly. When one strategy failed, they tried another. Ambushes, decoys, synchronized volleys of fire. Humans combined their intelligence with courage, striking in ways the aliens did not expect. Slowly the tide began to shift. In the outer sectors, stealth frigates executed surgical strikes against alien supply ships. Without supplies, alien reinforcements were delayed. Smaller alien squads were isolated and eliminated. Every small victory counted. Every human maneuver mattered. On Epsilon 9, civilians and engineers watched from safe shelters as distant flashes of battle lit up the void. Some prayed, some silently wept, and some cheered. Humanity was fighting, and for the first time, it seemed possible that they could survive. Hours turned into a relentless confrontation. Ships on both sides were destroyed. Brave human pilots sacrificed themselves to protect larger ships. Admiral Voss and Captain Price coordinated the fleet tirelessly, balancing offense and defense. Finally, after long hours of combat, the alien armada began to falter. The humans had exploited weaknesses the aliens had not accounted for: unexpected maneuvers, coordinated attacks, and the relentless ingenuity of human minds. Energy shields flickered across alien capital ships, engines failed, and sections of the fleet began to retreat. Push forward, Voss roared. We finish this now. Humanity does not yield. With a final coordinated strike, humans disabled the lead alien warships. The remaining forces, shaken and disorganized, retreated into deep space, leaving behind wreckage and silence. Humanity had survived the ultimate battle. But the victory came at a high cost. Several human ships had been destroyed. Hundreds of pilots and crew members were lost. Epsilon 9 and other colonies had suffered damage. Yet through it all the fleet remained. Humanity endured. Humanity fought. And humanity triumphed. Captain Price stood on the bridge of HMS Resolute, exhausted but resolute. We've won this battle, he said. But this is just the beginning. The galaxy is not safe. They may return, and next time it could be worse. But today humanity proved something. We survive. We endure. And we fight smarter, braver, and stronger than anyone expects. Admiral Voss watched the stars, the shadows of retreating alien ships fading into the distance. The ultimate fleet has proven its worth, he said. The galaxy will know that humans are not to be trifled with. And whatever comes next, we will face it together. United. Unyielding. Human. For the first time since the aliens arrived, humanity breathed as one. They had faced the impossible, survived the unthinkable, and emerged victorious. The battle had been won, but in the dark expanse of space, the war was far from over. The stars were quiet now. The last alien ships had vanished into deep space, leaving behind a galaxy littered with wreckage. Humanity's fleets hovered in formation, battered but unbroken. For the first time in weeks, the human commanders allowed themselves a moment to breathe, but the weight of what had happened was heavy. Admiral Kellen Voss surveyed the battlefield from the bridge of the HMS Vanguard. Red alerts had faded, but the monitors still displayed countless points of wreckage: human ships destroyed, alien vessels disabled or drifting endlessly. Every blip was a story of sacrifice. Every flash of destruction reminded him of the cost of survival. Report, Voss said, voice calm but firm. Fleet status is 80% operational, sir, a tactical officer replied. We've lost several ships and hundreds of crew members, but the remaining forces are intact. Civilians are safe and colonies are secure. Voss nodded, his eyes fixed on the void. Humanity survived. That is what matters. The galaxy must understand, humans are not to be underestimated. Captain Joran Price, aboard HMS Resolute, reflected on the battle. We fought smarter, faster, and braver than any enemy expected, he said quietly to his officers. But this is only the beginning. The aliens tested us. They will learn from their mistakes. We must remain vigilant. Across the outer colonies, life began to return slowly. Engineers and civilians worked together to repair damaged systems. Power grids were restored, transport routes cleared, and the remnants of destroyed ships salvaged. Epsilon 9 had suffered, but it was still standing, a testament to human resilience. Commander Rena Halvorsen coordinated reconstruction efforts, ensuring that civilians were safe and essential systems operational. "We survived because we adapted, because we fought together," she said. "And we will continue to protect what is ours. Humanity does not give up. We endure." Scientists aboard the fleet examined captured alien technology. Hull fragments, energy cells, and communication arrays provided insight into the enemy's capabilities. Every discovery was carefully catalogued. Humanity had not only survived, they had learned. Every lesson from this battle would prepare them for the next. But even as humans celebrated their victory, a shadow of uncertainty remained. Analysts noted unusual energy readings far beyond the reaches of the galaxy humans controlled. Unknown movements in deep space suggested that the alien forces were regrouping, perhaps planning a new attack. The first wave had been defeated, but the war was far from over. In the quiet of the fleet, Admiral Voss gathered his commanders. "The battle is won, but the war is ongoing," he said. "Our enemies are still out there beyond the stars. We have the knowledge, the technology, and the courage to face them. Humanity's strength lies not just in its ships, but in its people. Remember that." Captain Price stood beside him. "We've proven something today. Humans survive against impossible odds. We adapt. We endure. We fight. That is our greatest power." Across the galaxy, whispers of humanity's victory began to spread. Outer colonies sent messages of hope. Scientists shared new technology recovered from alien wrecks. Pilots trained harder, engineers worked tirelessly, and civilians rebuilt with determination. Humanity had been tested, and it had passed with bravery and intelligence. Yet, in the far reaches of space, beyond the light of human colonies, a dark silence waited. A faint signal flickered across alien networks, a whisper of something larger, stronger, and more relentless than anything humanity had yet encountered. The first wave had been destroyed, but it was only a fraction of the enemy's true strength. Admiral Voss turned to his officers, eyes steady. "Let this be a warning," he said. "We are not helpless. We are not weak. Humanity will defend its place in the galaxy. And when the next wave comes, we will meet it united, prepared, and unyielding." Captain Price looked out at the stars, a faint smile on his lips. "We have survived the first storm," he said. "And humanity is stronger because of it. Whatever comes next, we will face it. Together." The camera would slowly pan outward, showing the remaining fleet hovering in formation among distant stars, repair crews moving from ship to ship, and the colonies of humanity stretching across the galaxy. The void beyond remained dark and silent, but humanity had survived. Humanity had won for now. And somewhere deep in the shadows of space, the faint glow of unknown ships hinted at the coming storm. The galaxy had learned one undeniable truth: humans were not to be underestimated. They adapted, they endured, and they would fight no matter the cost. Humanity's ultimate story was only beginning.